Thanks so much for that, Shri. Meantime, I want to bring in our Middle East guest today, Gus Chehayeb. He's the Associate Director of MENA Research at Exotix. He joins us now live from Dubai. Gus, let me start with the commodities picture with you and get your thoughts on Libya and the oil picture right now. As I mentioned before, oil trading slightly higher at the moment right now on the NYMEX. And in terms of Brent, we're looking at that critical resistance of about 111. What are your thoughts on where we see oil go this week and if we have a resolution to what we're seeing in Libya?
Good morning, Jackie. My thoughts on oil are that, you have to look at the big picture in terms of Libya. It only supplies less than 2% of the world's oil. So we're in the overall oil complex globally. It won't have a meaningful impact on oil prices this week. That said, I think also the markets are not pricing in a very big impact from oil coming online very quickly. The rebels and the transitional party have stated that they expect to have 500,000 to 600,000 barrels per day online within a few weeks, and then potentially 1.6 million barrels within 15 months. I think that's an ambitious target. I think that they need to assess what damage has been made to the oil infrastructure within Libya. I think that's very important in terms of oil pipelines and refineries and wells. I think it's also important to I think there has been no resolution in terms of where Gaddafi is right now, and there's a lot of supporters within Libya that are still very loyal to that regime, and in acts of desperation they could try to tamper with the remaining oil supplies. So I think that oil will stay volatile this week. I don't expect a meaningful impact because of Libya this week.
Gus, it's Becky in London here. What do you expect from some of the key Gulf markets after Ramadan? What kind of patterns through the rest of the year?
Hi, Becky. My expectation is that post-Ramadan, trading volumes will pick up substantially. That's usually the case. Markets usually rally post-Ramadan, and I would expect them to slightly rally following on the U.S. rally and coming to an end to the crisis in Libya. However, tensions do remain high, so I think maybe if there's a small blip initially within the first few days, I think that markets and investors will start focusing on the political and geopolitical exposures of each country and the risks of each country and the fundamentals in place for the underlying markets. I expect through the end of the year, Saudi and Qatar will outperform the rest of the MENA markets, while the UAE will be flat to slightly down. And I would expect Bahrain and Kuwait to continue to end the year in lost territory.
Gus, hi, it's Lisa over in Singapore. You've mentioned Saudi Arabia as one of the potential outperformers this year. Tell me about the massive amount of fiscal stimulus we're getting from the government. Is it too late for investors to get in on some of the sectors that might benefit from that?
I don't think it's too late to get in. The Saudi market is still down 10% this year, and that's after a $120 billion stimulus package was announced in March. And prices are still down, and they're still suffering from a lot of the discontent happening across the Middle East. I think, in terms of the stimulus plan, the largest amount of it, about $70 billion worth, was directed towards the housing industry. Saudi housing industry is very undersupplied, and supply is far below demand over the future. So they're pouring a lot of money into affordable housing. They're pouring a lot of money into healthcare and education. So I expect home builders to do well over the medium to long term, and I would also expect healthcare companies, pharmaceutical distributors, pharmaceutical manufacturers, and educational companies to do well, as well as consumer durables. I think Saudi Arabia presents some of the most attractive investment opportunities in the entire Middle East. It's got the deepest markets and I think the most undervalued equities.
Gus, Saudi definitely one to watch right now. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Gus Chehayeb, Associate Director of Research at Exotix Ltd. Meantime, we have more coming out of Japan. I want to toss it back to Sri in Tokyo.
Jackie, thank you.